Yeah, I think the big thing is that, there's so much going on in the data center world, and power is such a big part of it, right? So compute's going up, loads are going up. And I don't think we did a really great job as an industry to plan for that. I think it's been a little bit haphazard, and even in the talk, I mentioned that, data centers used to be they used to be all in similar spots. So like it was Ashburn, Virginia, and then you'd, find places in Ireland, and all the data centers were almost like co-located within a geography. And that's not the case anymore. And so now I'm going to say this issue and a little bit of this like not in my backyard scenario has really crept up. And so I think as an industry, we need to find ways to build some collaboration with the utilities, with the folks who are building, with lawmakers and policymakers to solve for this problem that doesn't have a really easy and clean solution, because it's all about demand for power. And the power demand continues to increase, and it's outpacing what we're being able to deliver today. I think we need, Mara mentioned it, we need to take a little bit of a pause. And the reason why I think we need to take a little bit of a pause is that we need to build out a really holistic solution. And it's not just about data centers finding land and building. It's not just about utilities going ahead and finding ways to deliver more power. It's not even about renewables and sustainability. It's about really being able to build a bit of a cohesive solution. And if we don't do that, then we will end up in a situation where and there's places around the world where this is happening today, where the utilities have basically said, no more data centers. We've got a moratorium. Don't care if you own the land. We don't have enough power to be able to manage the residents and businesses that we have. And then that stifles their growth. That stifles economic growth and investment. And I don't think that that's kind of the right solution. But I do believe that Mara's statement about everybody taking a little bit of a pause and trying to figure out, okay, how do all of these puzzle pieces need to go together, and we're going to find big gaps, and then we need to figure out how to close those gaps, because you can't the perfect gap is not using farmland for solar power. The perfect gap closer is not going ahead and installing tons and tons of wind farms in agricultural land. Like, there has to be some balance in there. And I think that's going to take time. It's going to take people at the table. It's going to be about policy. It's going to be about investment. It's not a straightforward solution. I think one of the great things about this conference is that you have people who are the actual doers that are here, right? And no offense, I'm a salesperson by nature, and I run a global sales organization, so I'm equally guilty as everybody else is. But at a lot of conferences, it's a lot of salespeople who are trying to sell you their solution or sell you their product. I think one of the great things about this event is that you've got everybody from the person who's writing the specification to the individuals who are looking for land to policymakers. And those are the people that actually get the stuff done. And I think that's the critical part in the discussion. One, I would tell them to do a bit of homework, because it is a very technical and overwhelming industry. When you first get into it, there's a lot of acronyms, there's a lot of information. So do a little bit of homework so that you don't feel like a complete newbie. And then the other one is come to this event, right? Get to know people, do some networking, meet some folks, understand kind of where they fit into the cog of the wheel. And I think that's a really great place to start. Yeah, I personally would say there's not enough women in this industry. I think that there's been some great women who've been amazing trailblazers, who've looked for opportunities to bring more women into this industry. I still feel that there's probably not enough women. If you look at a lot of the panels today, a lot of the panels were all men. So I think that there's a better opportunity to integrate more women into the industry. It's not like there's a shortage of women engineers graduating. So I think it's just that it's not positioned really as the most exciting industry to be engaged in, when you could be potentially, building a skyscraper or a bridge. But it is an industry where you could make the entirety of your career in this industry and do a whole bunch of different things. Everything from, mergers and acquisitions to sales to marketing to building to project management. Everything can exist within this industry. It's just we don't do a really good job of promoting it and selling it. I would say find out who is in that space and pick up the phone and call them. Use LinkedIn, put in data center, look for the women that are in your geography, pick up the phone and call them. I'm a big believer of women going into high schools, public schools, and talking about what a data center is. Everybody understands data. They understand video, they understand TikTok, Snapchat, all of those things, but they don't really understand how it works. And I think when you explain to them how it works and you explain that there's an entire industry and a career that you can build in there, then I think they get really excited. But they don't know what they don't know. And I don't think we've done a really great job of being promoters of that.